You got the template?
I don't have the template,
Okay.
because I couldn't find it when I looked for
We're
it.
gonna call this to order at 7 o'clock.
Alright, so we would roll call, let's see, so Beckwith,
Here.
Katsinas,
Here.
Sutton,
Here.
Farkapezi,
Here.
Linsdale Hopner,
Here.
and Chang.
Here.
What, I was right here, so. it's my
Where's
temp-
Gina?
Gina's on
She's
vacation,
away.
and
The
the
whole
person
library's gonna fall
I
apart.
had
Yes.
lined up was unable to make it, but that's okay, we'll persevere.
Soldier on.
And now you say we have a.
Now we have a.
Oh, we have a quorum,
Okay.
thank you.
Pledge.
George did this.
In the system.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Warren Newport Public Library District provides the community with access to information, kindles the imagination of children and adults, and supports lifelong learning. Anyone would want to speak in public comment? Okay. Let's see, correspondence, anything?
None.
I have got this. This was in my
Oh,
packet?
yes, the annual letter from.
I'll just pass this around and then.
Yeah, I did get that, and I assume Andrea got one as well. Yes.
Should we have 3 copies or no, just the one?
No, I think one will be suffice,
Right.
don't you?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so, you can share yours and then we'll keep one. Gina will put it with the
Sure.
archives, okay, fine. Okay, anyone want to remove anything from the consent agenda? Okay, can I have a motion to approve the consent as presented then?
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstain. Okay. President's report, page 31. Anything on that one?
It's a lot of hours again.
Oh, yeah,
Thank you for doing the minutes for me.
thank you.
I was gone.
Anyone else? Reports?
Just wanted to say, as always, enjoyed the library programming. My 2 youngest went with me to Reptomania. That's what they called it. Although they were not entirely comfortable around the reptiles there, they stuck it out through the.
I'm not entirely comfortable just hearing about the reptiles.
Do they have to touch them?
One of mine did.
Would do it?
The
Okay.
older of the 2 young ones did. The youngest refused to go anywhere near it.
So brave.
Anyone else? No?
I used a new service from the library I never used before, the museum pass, which I've known has been there for so long. I believe the Friends pay for it. Somebody pays for it.
Yes. Mhm.
Really? And, get it at the children's desk. My son and I used it to go to the Brookfield Zoo. We wanted something to do, and so, it was just, you can get it to all kinds of places, and why am I paying for parking at Chicago Botanical Gardens when I can pick up a pass? It goes to a good cause, but there's that.
Yeah,
So-
that's terrific.
It's tax deductible,
What is?
your parking pass at the Botanic Gardens.
Really?
Is it?
No, it is not.
This is our,
They say it is.
this is our treasure. I know that.
You,
Okay, let's press on.
need to subtract the fair market value of the
Correct.
parking.
Of the parking.
So
Which is
I
zero.
think in Chicagoland, they charge a pretty penny for it.
Okay, any other reports? Okay.
However, I'm being audio.
Ryan's report, page 33.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna replace your report. Let's actually hand this up for meeting. There's just, there's a personnel, you probably will spot it, I won't say it for the record, but there's something that's personnel related that shouldn't be in the report, so this new report will remove that from the official executive director's report.
Thank you.
I think the thing I want to talk about mostly is the strategic plans initiative, and I feel really good about where things stand.
Do you do those?
Oh, here, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Yeah,
I do.
there's-
Sorry.
So going through, obviously under fundraising, we talked about this at the last meeting. Once we get through bingo, we'll get going on the planned giving program, and that ties into the other two outstanding items: revamping the memorial and tribute giving program, and then after that we need to do the benchmarking, which we've kind of unofficially done, but we need to do more formal benchmarking, and that may carry over to the next strategic plan. So those are on page 1 or 2. Then you go to page 4. The IT team is in the process of replacing the staff computers. I think are all replaced or all nearly replaced, and then we're moving on to the public PCs. Once that's done, we will install the new security software for the public service desk areas. So that's scheduled.
Hey, can I ask you, what
course.
is a kit?
The kits.
I can answer that actually, because my kids enjoy reading them. It's a book with a CD that has sound effects and reads the book to you.
Oh, okay, thank you. So I was trying to figure what they were, so thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should mention that I'm looking at this individually, but let's see. I've kind of bounced ahead to page 43 is where the strategic plan initiatives quarterly progress report begins.
And then you're on page 46 now, is that right?
Let's see. Page 46. Thanks, Bonnie. Yes. So that's that software that's that we identified as something that the staff needs for to alert security if problem situations or issues arrive. So we're excited about that. Then moving on to page.
Excuse me, can I just ask,
Sure.
what's happened without that in place right now?
Well, the way it works right now is, so for example, let's say there is an unintended child in youth services. What staff will do is they'll use the radio to call security staff. But this is just in place where it's a software called this little green button. We actually have physical buttons too. There's also one on your desktop. So let's say a staff member is having an interaction with a patron and they feel like their safety is threatened. They can hit the button. What's going to happen is that an alert will pop on not only the security monitor's PC, and there's also an app. So if he happens to be walking around the library, there's an alert he gets on his phone. But also, Noreen could get that alert. I could get that alert. We're still determining that. So staff will know. Okay, there's a situation where the staff didn't feel comfortable radioing the situation. So let's react to that. See what's going on.
Very good.
Has that started?
No, that needs to be implemented. So once we get the PCs updated, we're going to implement that software.
So
Oh,
does
yeah,
that
you
mean
did say
that
that.
you're gonna work on an escalation scenarios of, what will be the ideal situations for those that will?
Yeah, there's going to be a training element involved because one thing we don't want to have happen is someone's upset about their experience at a computer. I'm going to talk to the executive director and someone hits the button. It's not that kind of thing. It's going to be if staff feels threatened. I mean, I'm happy to talk to patrons about that, but it's when staff, they feel threatened and they don't feel comfortable enough picking up the radio. So so it should be pretty rare. So we'll know if we get this alert, it's a pretty
Okay.
intense situation. Page 47. I'm excited about this. Was kind of a slow start to the year, but one of my goals that the board had for me and I had for myself was to reach out to leaders in the community that represent different groups to establish relationships. This past week I met with Courtney Combs, who is the Mission Impact Manager of the YWCA of Lake County, and we talked about all kinds of things that they're doing and how we can work together, and talked about groups in our community that it was really enlightening. I think, for example, with all due respect to Waukegan schools, there are a lot of individuals, a lot of Latinos that want to get into the Gurney school systems, and they'll make that move into our library district and into the school districts. But that move is very hard for those families, and it's a real challenge for them, and they have a lot of needs. So we talked about the different needs they have, how the library can work to fill those needs. So through connecting with a couple different people, I've gotten some names like Courtney's name, and I've set up meetings to talk to these individuals. So I think I'm really excited about how that's going. I think it's going really well, and that's going to give us some information that I think we'll be able to use for our next strategic plan and how we can target some of these communities that are underserved and how we have a role in serving those communities. So. Moving on to, this will take too much longer. page 47, or excuse me, 48, the virtual tour of the library is essentially done. So we'll have that to share. We're at the May Committee of the Whole. We'll talk about the flex and what that looks like, and we'll look at some hard numbers on that. And then the next page, 49, these outstanding action items, they all kind of tie together. They all do tie together. Where we've developed a style guide, we've done an audit of the signage across the building, and I think a lot of the things we've discovered in the signage audit and the style guide are going to continue to the next strategic planning process, including the user-friendly terminology. We have a lot of signs in the library, and it doesn't make for a good user experience, the number of signs we have, so we as a management team need to get together and talk about how we're going to deal with that. So that's been a pretty big effort, so I'm excited about the progress we've made on that. Although, after completing that signage audit, or nearly completing it, we still have a few more areas to do, like the bookmobile. It's uncovered a lot of challenges we're going to have with the amount of signs we have.
Yeah.
So, and then finally, page 50. I think that's the last thing. That's.
51.
Oh yeah, I'll get to 50. Yeah, 52 in a second. But 51, explore the possibility of adding signage and other promotional opportunities throughout the library district. We actually identified a lot of great ideas, but at this point, we feel it's a little bit cost prohibitive, and I think it's one of those things we'll look at each year. If there's a big initiative that we're doing, we might want to try to put that in the budget. But at this point, we don't have it in the budget for the next fiscal year. That's one of those things that we're going to keep talking about every couple times a year to identify opportunities, but it's expensive, like the signage, like the yard signs idea. A lot of times you hear about library districts doing that if they're going out for a referendum, but some libraries do that for other reasons as well. Just they're trying to promote library card signups, that type of thing.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. It's just
Yeah.
it's expensive to make those signs, so it's a big commitment if we're going to do something like that. Andrea, yeah.
Since we cooperated so well with the village on our parking lot, I know this because my son works in village services. The village of Gurnee has a sign shop, like creates road signs.
Oh, I didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
all of and they have to comply with laws and they're expensive, but we, like,
Maybe
maybe
we
we
look
can,
up.
if we need outdoor signage, we might be able to get it from the village at a much reduced price.
It's possible. It's worth looking into, I suppose.
And Ryan, are you talking about signs that would locate the library for people? Is that all you mean, or just like an advertisement?
Oh.
No. I think Andrea actually.
As a matter of fact, like the sign down there that's got the blue one with the
Yeah,
library.
Yeah.
My
That's
son
what I
tells
meant.
me all you have to do is call the village and they'll replace that. That's a
Oh.
village sign. Because I
Oh.
see it's faded and stuff.
It has faded, and I'm
So
glad you mentioned that
That is
because
no charge to us, that's a village sign.
Well, that's very
Leave
good.
it to the treasurer now.
Wow.
Yes, my son
It's
told me this.
wonderful. Yeah.
Because I said, why don't you replace that? He goes, call the village.
Cost saving right there.
And I know one thing that we've discussed before on the same lines is not only Gurnee, but parts that, some of the roads that the county maintains. Areas where we have partnerships, where we have long-standing bookmobile stops, we might be able to get bookmobile stop signage in place.
Well, it's
I
funny.
know
You,
that-
it's funny you bring that up because
Maureen's
Amy
big one.
Server of she's the Warren Township Highway Supervisor. She asked me, "Well, you've got the sign, Ryan, this bookmobile sign, and it looks like it got hit. Do you want us to try to replace it for you, fix it?" And I talked to Noreen about it, and it turns out it was a old bookmobile stop. So I think that the challenge with that is that since we use that Analytics on Demand tool and other tools to figure out the schedule, we'd have to when we get the signs in place, then we're changing the route, then we have to move the sign. So I mean, it's something to consider. I think it would take some coordination though.
That was from the days when we stayed at a stop for a really, really long time, even if nobody came. And so we do evaluations of them all the time, every year. We used to change the schedule every 6 months too. We do it once a year now. So we have more data to decide if the stop is worth keeping. And they change so much. And those signs were not, they pulled them for us, didn't they, Ryan?
Yeah,
There
they
was
did.
just a couple of.
Well, yeah, because it was an old
reservations.
sign. It wasn't even a bookmobile stop. It was like someone hit it or something, so it was
Yeah.
like bent. That's how it got brought to my attention. So.
We send postcards out when we're gonna have a new stop to that, like, 3 streets wide. We let everybody kinda know, that we're gonna be there, and it stops like at Jewel. We have like a sandwich board sign that we put out for that one. But in the neighborhoods, we send, when we're gonna start a new stop, we send postcards out to everybody in that area.
And the last outstanding initiative that is blue on the report is on page 52. And that's it was originally collaborate with existing partners and local businesses to mount a major library card sign-up drive and increase users. And after looking at our community and, kind of evaluating this and where it's worked, it's like our community just doesn't seem like a good match for this type of initiative. However, with the law that changed recently where it's easier for businesses to get library cards. Before the Illinois law, it indicated that it was the actual property owner. So let's say there's a retail establishment and there's someone that owns those different shops in the retail establishment. It was the law was written where they could get a library card. Well, now if someone is renting a shop, the owner of the business can come and get a library card. So to be more aggressive about marketing our business cards and telling businesses about things like lynda.com. Because if you look at lynda.com, there's things like retail customer service. There's things like Salesforce and all these, pretty high-end software packages that businesses use that we could, market the library and lynda.com to these businesses. And that's something that I've talked to Ellen Dean, who's Gurney's economic development coordinator. She's excited about the idea. So really all we need to do is produce something that they'll help distribute to the businesses. So it's a pretty nice partnership where basically we just have to create the marketing materials and the village will help us promote it. So we've kind of twisted this initiative to be more how we can serve our businesses better as opposed to, work with them for a library card sign-up campaign. So I think that's a good change to that initiative. So
If you want to do a presentation over at like the Chamber of Commerce or the Exchange Club, I'd be happy to participate in that. I
Okay.
did I mentioned it a few meetings ago, the whole Outlook, the entire 6-hour thing. I did it 15 minutes a day for a long time, but it's really improved my life because I use it all the time.
good.
Like I have sent people tasks and stuff to do on a certain day and it pops up.
But that's a great idea, Andrea, because that's one of the things we talked about, and Ellen seems like I haven't sat down and really talked to the chamber, but essentially the Gurney Chamber really is kind of under the village's umbrella, and I think that's a great idea to talk about and have a real experience where like how it's I love that
And
idea.
maybe have some short classes here where we just give them, a little taste of what it is, the little piece of the drug, then they can become addicted.
Okay.
I brought it up to the people in our firm,
No, I know what you mean.
and we're going to use it as, we have to get 40 hours a year, we normally get 60, and we don't have to pay for this.
Right.
We'll get it through the Skokie Library, the firm will get it, so.
Yeah. No, it's
But-
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I really don't understand why all businesses aren't clamoring for it. It took me years. It's because you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Joe's raving about it that made me try it.
it's all about figuring out how to market to users, right? And that's something that is a challenge. There are major companies that spend big money, as George has referred to many times, that still probably don't do it right. So we don't have huge marketing budgets, but this is a good way for us to market that service. So I think anyway, we'll see. So that's that's what I wanted to focus on with the director's report is kind of a walkthrough of the where we're at with our initiatives for the strategic plan. And just as a friendly reminder, something that we'll all be working on in the fall is a new strategic plan. And Noreen and I are kind of the small committee right now where we're in the process of determining if we want to work with a consultant. We're going to kind of whittle it down to maybe a couple to present to the board. And we also honestly want to look at what value a consultant would provide to the process, because as we discussed, we did pretty good. I think we did a great job before on our own, but I think there's value to working with a consultant. As long as they offer value. The worst thing you can do is hire someone and pay them $10,000-$15,000, and you go through the process, and we do most of the work anyway. Then it's like, why did we hire somebody? So
I'll just say, I've done it twice since I've been on the board, once with the consultant and once with you guys doing it, and there was no contest. Yours was far better than the consultant's.
I
I'm just
second
saying.
that.
It was way better.
So there you go. It's in your lap again.
Consultants generally add value to this sort of process when there's a lot of disagreement or when there are competing priorities to help you prioritize your priorities.
That makes sense.
If we're already on the same page for the most part, a consultant might not be a good investment there.
Actually, that wouldn't be my quibble. That would not be the difference that I saw in the two processes. To me, one was practical and aimed at reality, and the other one was sort of
Pie in the sky.
wishful thinking. If you
If
could
you had
have
no
anything,
budget,
what would
yeah.
it be? Well,
But we live in the real world.
yeah.
Don't waste
It-
our
it-
time.
You know, so there were lots of really creative, wonderful ideas, but we couldn't afford
Yeah.
a lot of them. And so it wasn't as good as what Ryan and Noreen did. It just wasn't.
Mhm.
So, anyway.
Plus, nobody else will know your organization as best as you do. You know, like bringing somebody from the outside to come and help you develop change and structural change in the long run really needs to come from within, is my opinion.
Right. Yeah. No, that's why you want to be very strategic about if you do decide to work with a consultant who you hire and make sure that they are adding value to the process. Because if you just, oh, well, they've worked with the libraries and their plan is nice, it doesn't necessarily add any value at the end of the day, right? So,
One comment I'll make, strategic planning seems to be working pretty well for us. We need better tactical planning.
What's the difference?
Once we've decided what our strategic ideas are and what we're gonna do over the next 10 years, how do we figure out how we organize what we're doing to get it done on a schedule?
Lynda.com has got a project.
yeah. And that's one of my goals for the year, yeah, is project management, yeah, so, no, I don't disagree.
Okay, anything else on strat plan? Okay, we're on to new business then. So first thing is minutes for March. This is on new business because somebody was absent. Anne,
I was
right,
at,
so that means we need to have it vote separately so that she can abstain. So could I have a motion to approve the regular minutes for March?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those, oh no, we have to have a roll call.
Kasinis,
Aye.
Sutton,
Aye.
Farkapisi,
Aye.
Linsdale Hopner,
abstain.
and Chang.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
How about me?
Oh, excuse me, Beckwith. I was saving you for last thing, I mean, just Beckwith.
Aye.
Well, the ayes have it again. Sorry,
Well,
Joe.
Gina is to us.
I hope she doesn't watch this recording.
No offense, Ryan, but
No,
it's
it's
a lot
fine.
better.
She is indeed. I agree.
Oh, dear. Okay, and then next is approval of the exec session minutes from the same meeting on new business for the same reason. So can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the exec session minutes for March 19th?
So moved.
Do we have them at our places?
Yes,
I read
she
mine.
handed them out
I
earlier.
remember you read them,
Oh, that's right, I read them in
the executive, they don't come in the packet.
Everybody
So
give
we
them
get-
back? Okay,
And would abstain again, right?
Do I
Yeah.
abstain again?
Did
yes.
she
Yeah.
get the chance to read them?
We need a,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did read it.
You did, yeah, yeah.
we need a second.
Okay, so we need a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, let's have the roll call.
Let's have a roll call, shall we?
Okay, let's do that.
All right. Kasinis,
Aye.
Sutton,
Aye.
Farkapisi,
Aye.
Linsdale Hopner,
Abstain.
Chang,
Aye.
and Beckwith.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Okay, good.
You're supposed to do it in a random order. They like the order changes every time.
Oh, is that right?
Except I'm always last.
That's, yes. Okay.
All right.
You never know.
Items for the May meeting, please. Anybody have anything they want on the agenda?
Do I need to tell you about the next executive session? Minutes for approval? That would be the
Yeah, that would be for
April 9th one.
4/9.
Yeah.
19,
Right.
And everybody? It can go on the consent? Was everyone here? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so, let me double check, but yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all.
Including-
Yeah, I think we
yes.
were too. Anything else? Nothing? Okay. All right.
I read it.
I would just say there may, depending on the maybe, there may be some more, usually in that maybe there's more budget talk.
Right, and actually, tonight's should go on there too.
Yes, right.
Do you want director's report back, or does this stay with us?
No, the one I handed out is yours to keep, yes.
That's all right.
Okay, who would like to make a motion for executive session, please?
Someone else can do it, my voice is.
I move, we move to executive session.
We have
How
to read
about,
the
have to
thing.
read it.
Oh, sorry,
That's okay.
Resolved that the board enter into executive session along with the executive director, Livergood, to consider the selection of a person to fill the vacancy in the office of library trustee.
a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. Okay, 7:27.
Find those people.
Okay,
Motion
just
session.
one second, let me just get this back to, it is
Afterwards, yeah.
7:46, and we are back in session. Okay, so go ahead.
No, that's a different matter. Shane.
Okay, we'll wait till later, all right?
Yes.
Public forum? Anyone want to talk? Announcements.
No, you mean to go? Okay. So I'm just, so we, Joe and I discussed doing a presentation at ILA targeted towards trustees about going fine free. And we reached out to Ela area and Vernon area, as we're all in different stages of that process. And so the three libraries all submitted this proposal for ILA, and it was accepted. So we will present it at trustee day at ILA. So Joe, myself, Meg Schmaus, who is our head of circulation, and then I'm not, the trustee from each of those libraries, along with, I think, both directors from those libraries, and maybe members of their staff. So we're still
So
working.
what stage are we?
What stage are we?
They've both gone before us.
Right.
Of the three, we're.
So we've had the most recent, experience with it. So, because I think the thing is not that, I guess you could argue it's, advocating other libraries to do this, but I think that there are a lot of boards out there that are closed-minded to the idea of even considering it. And at least my goal is to get other library boards to at least discuss the idea and see if it works for those libraries. So, we'll see.
And what were the other two libraries you said that were gonna co?
Ela area
and
and
Vernon.
Vernon.
Ela is, Laser.
Because I will be the first to admit, especially libraries with tighter budget than ours, downstate libraries, for example, with the minimum wage increase, some of those libraries are going to face some real tough budget decisions. And if they rely heavily on fines revenue, I mean, they won't be able to do it. I realize that. But some libraries, they're in a position where they can, and they should consider it.
1% of your budget is still a lot.
Right. Well, and for some of those downstate libraries, it's much more.
One thing I'm very interested in, if you guys can, listen or ask while you're there, is I think when we were looking at it, one of our main deciding factors were the number of children who were blocked from usage because of late fees. And what was their experience 1 and 2, 2-3 years out? Did that drop from the large percentage to a smaller percentage? Because, if parents still don't bring their books back,
Right.
and it doesn't do any good.
Well, I thought it was interesting, one of the public comments that was written up
Yeah.
about how we could incentivize people, even, now with our fine-free thing. It was quite a long,
Yeah.
it must have been an email or something too. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the patron comments in there, it's
I
in the
thought it was
packet.
really interesting, some of the things she had in mind, but I thought we're not quite to that. We're not there yet. Let's wait and see how this goes for a while.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that with this idea, it's an interesting idea, but it does take a lot of work to coordinate those efforts, and
Sure.
it's not quite as when I was in Arlington, Massachusetts, at the Robbins Library, we coordinated with business for the library card sign up campaign, and it wasn't easy to build a relationship with those local businesses, it takes a lot of work. And you gotta, kind of weigh, okay, is it gonna be worth the time to connect to these businesses and.
Well,
and set
staff
that
hours
up.
and everything
Yeah,
else that it would
it's
take.
tremendous
That's what I
amount of
right
work,
away
so.
started thinking, okay.
But no, it's certainly an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Okay, any other announcements?
Yes, today is World Book Day. In
Yeah.
other places and other, countries around the world, they celebrate, today is UNESCO founded day to celebrate World Book Day. So I just wanted to share that with the board.
We used to
Very interesting.
celebrate here, I was part of a World Book organization where they'd send you, 30 books for free, and then I would stand out and Target, I stood in Home Depot and just handed out free books, people kind of questioning, who are you and what are you proselytizing about? And I was like, no, it's free, really, it's free. So it was a great.
I think there's
it was a
still a
great thing.
nonprofit organization like that in Ireland called
Okay.
World Book Day.
Yeah,
just
I was
going.
really disappointed that they stopped doing it here in our country, but it was, I think, based in England, maybe. It was really quite,
It's very cool.
yeah.
Announcements? All right, who would like to move to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. It is 7:51.
50 minutes.
Just have
Not
those
bad.
things
Not
to
bad.
sign, Ryan, or did you do that?
Nope, I have the things to sign. Thank you.